Saudi Arabia is building a city-state for 9 million people with flying cars, hanging gardens, and robotic maids. Here, jobs, goods, and services will be 5 minutes away with a high-speed train transporting people from one end of the skyscraper to the other. The city building, powered entirely by green energy, will be controlled by an artificial intelligence, and at night, residents will be able to admire the artificial moon. What else will this city have when you can live there? We'll tell you in today's video. Beautiful, futuristic, but completely crazy projects appear on the network periodically. For example, a flying sky hotel powered by nuclear energy? The concept was created by Hashim Al-Ghali and has no technical justification. It's only a fantasy project, but it was also presented as a fantasy, without any promises for a real existence in the future. At first glance, The Line, a completely mirrored skyscraper city with futuristics and even utopian interiors, seems as unrealistic as a flying hotel or, for example, Elon Musk's colony on Mars. But yet, the construction of this city of the future has already begun. So what is The Line? It's one of the most ambitious urban projects in existence today, part of the NEOM Giga Project, which, in turn, is part of His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. The entire NEOM will be the size of Belgium and will be located north of the Red Sea. Specifically, the mirror line will pass through the Gulf of Aqaba, the mountain range, and the coastline. Perfectly flat, 170 kilometers long, 200 meters wide, and 500 meters high, the skyscraper city should be able to accommodate 9 million inhabitants. In fact, the project involves the construction of 2 buildings running parallel to each other and connected by crosspieces. Inside, everything is like science fiction utopia. Well, or maybe dystopias. The number of service and entertainment robots could potentially exceed the number of inhabitants. But back to The Line. There's artificial ponds, suspended vertical gardens, and even outdoor ski slopes for residents for this city of the future. There's no roads and neither are personal cars. They're not needed. First, because everything you need to live will be within a 5-minute radius. Pedestrians and bicycle paths are planned for short-distance travel. And second, flying cabs are planned for longer journeys, and it takes 20 minutes to get from one end of the skyscraper to the other on an ultra-fast train. The Line provides 3 dimensions of movement, up, down, and across, in a concept known as urbanism and weightlessness. And the NEOM project itself, in addition to the Line City, includes an airport and seaport, industrial areas, research centers, sports and entertainment centers, and tourist destinations. There's even more incredible plans, such as having an artificial moon in the Skyline City. However, this project will be implemented and it's not yet reported when. The main thing here is the city will be based entirely on renewable energy and it will boast 0 emissions. Even the wastewater will be recycled. And all of this despite the fact that inside this giant enclosed space, ideal microclimate will be maintained around the clock with a temperature about 10 degrees Celsius lower than outside. To ensure the creation of microclimatic spaces, the environment has been designed to provide an optimal balance of sunlight, shade, and natural ventilation. But even more interesting, the city will live by its own laws. It will not be indirectly subject to the legal and cultural patterns of Saudi Arabia, although it's already being reported that alcohol is likely to be banned. But this is not yet known officially, as the code for the future city has not yet been written. Morphosis Architects, an American company, and 9 other design agencies are reportedly working on the project. Prince Mohammed declares that the city line will be the most livable city in the world, and he says that the model he conceived is a replacement for the uncontrolled urban development and waste growth that have reduced the standard of living for city dwellers. The media also writes that the ruler of the kingdom admitted to his entourage that this is his answer to the Egyptian pyramids, because, among other things, the line should attract large flows of tourists for the country. And this, in turn, will help the economy of Saudi Arabia to stop being entirely based on oil revenues. Prince Mohammed is also hoping for a nationwide demographic boom, which he says will be necessary to turn Saudi Arabia, the world's largest crude oil exporter, into an economic powerhouse. That's the main goal of creating NEOM, he said, because the city should create about 380,000 jobs. To increase Saudi Arabia's potential, invite more citizens and more people to Saudi Arabia. And since we're doing it from scratch, why should we copy any normal cities? Saudi Arabia predicts that by 2030 the kingdom will be home to 50 million people, more than half of whom will be foreigners. Currently, Saudi Arabia's population is just under 35 million. The first phase of the project will last until 2030, and it will cost nearly $320 billion. In addition to government subsidies, potential funding sources include the private sector and an initial public offering of NEOM expected in 2024. Still, the project has more critics than supporters, at least in the West. American and European experts say that the project is too unrealistic and unlikely to meet the original estimate of $500 billion. Also embarrassing is the fact that the concept of the city line has undergone a lot of changes since its appearance and continues to be transformed more. But there's more complaints than that. For example, the potential consequences for the surrounding ecosystem of a half-kilometer-high mirror wall reflecting light and heating back into the desert. There's also doubts about the promised rapid accessibility of anything and everything inside, since the building will require a rather complex vertical transportation system. And finally, the most important factor causing skepticism is the fact that in the history of the world, there's never been a similar scale of implemented projects. In neighboring Dubai in 2009, the construction of the $38 billion Nakheel Harbor and Tower was canceled. The reason then was the global economic downturn. The Chinese government hoped that the city of Khanbashi in the Inner Mongolia would one day have more than 1 million residents after investing more than $1 billion in its construction. But by 2016, it only had 10% of the planned figure. A similar fate of ghost towns has befallen other expensive projects in the financial district, not only in China, but also in Myanmar. North Korea wanted the 330-meter Ryongyang Hotel to become the world's tallest hotel after it was scheduled to open at the capital in Pyongyang in 1989. The hotel, nicknamed the Destiny Hotel, was never completed, and as of 2019, it's the tallest unoccupied building in the world. Now construction of the line is in the trench-digging phase for the foundation of the skyscraper. Where do you think you can get your stuff sooner? The Line City in Saudi Arabia or Nuwa City on Mars? Let us know down in the comments. And by the way, we talked at length about moving to Mars, its prospects, technology, and concepts, all in the issue you can find right here in the hint. The line will solve the problems facing humanity today in urban life and shed light on alternative ways of living. We cannot ignore the livability and environmental crisis facing the cities around the world, and NEOM is at the forefront of developing new and unconventional solutions to address these challenges, according to Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and chairman of NEOM. NEOM is leading a team of the brightest minds in architecture, design, and construction to bring the idea of building upward. In terms of a bright future, building a city like this would be a valuable experience, so we wish the project success, and we'll be sure to follow the development. And if you too want to keep up with all the news, join our community over on Instagram. Subscribe to the Pro Robot channel, like this video, and don't miss any new episodes from the world of high tech.